It is over. Motorola finally launched the Moto Razr 2022 and the phone is everything we expected it to be. The new foldable keeps the signature clamshell design and comes with an improved display, dual cameras and a flagship chipset. The first two Motorola Razr foldable phones clung too tightly to the nostalgia factor with an elevated chin at the bottom that was lifted straight from the classic Razr clamshell phones of the past. Motorola did put a fingerprint sensor on the chin and also used it as a clever contraption to slide in a portion of the flexible screen, but it was still a divisive design. In 2022, the chin is going away. A Lenovo executive had already showcased the phone on stage before its launch, revealing a design without any chin and symmetrical bezels at the top of the bottom. Plus, there is no camera notch for the selfie camera at the top. Motorola is also improving the folding design by making the teardrop-shaped hinge inner radius 3.3mm. It will allow the device to be in a half-open position or act as a tripod for your selfies. Motorola has teased several use cases like watching a video on the top half while chatting on the lower half, plus other multitasking stuff. While the design makeover is clean, Motorola still retains some of the classic Razr design by making the top and bottom edges ever so slightly curved. The outer cover display, which is already noticeably bigger and significantly more functional than Samsung's Galaxy Z Flip 3 or Z Flip 4, is also adding a few millimeters to itself on the Razr 2022. The inner foldable panel is a 6.7-inch OLED screen, while the cover display is a 3-inch unit with an 800 into 573 resolution, which will get 9 different widgets for at-a-glance info. The display will have support for DC dimming and a 10-bit panel with HDR10 Plus support. It will be one of the few smartphones in the market to sport an OLED display with a 144Hz refresh rate. Another notable change is the dual-lens rear camera setup, but there is no word if more color options will be on the table this year aside from the usual black trim. Motorola has confirmed the Razr 2022 will come armed with Qualcomm's top-tier Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset, making the Razr 2022 Motorola's most technically capable foldable by a long shot. While the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 might not offer a major performance leap over the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, it is a huge jump for Motorola. So far, the Motorola Razr foldable phones have relied on mid-range chips such as Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G, which makes the Motorola Razr 2022 a massive update for the lineup. It comes in 3 variants of 8GB of RAM paired with 128GB storage, and 8GB paired with 256GB, and 12GB with a whopping 512GB storage. But there is more to the picture here when just the added raw performance. A flagship grade chip also unlocks new capabilities for the camera and ensures that it stays at the top of the priority list when it comes to rolling out software updates in the long run. In addition to a weak chip, another chink in the Motorola Razr's armor has been the camera output. Motorola has remained loyal to a single rear camera formula for all its foldable phones so far, and even though the 48 megapixel on the Razr 5G delivered solid results, it was just not enough for the original asking price of nearly $1,400, both in terms of raw quality and lens versatility. Thankfully, Motorola is making positive strides in the department as well. The Razr 2022 has a 50 megapixel primary camera with OIS. It supports 4:1 pixel binding, so you can expect to get 12.5 megapixel images. The main camera is accompanied by a 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera with a 121-degree field of view and support for macro shooting. On the front, you get a 32 megapixel selfie sensor. The overall camera setup might not be as powerful as the main snapper, but if phones like iPhone 13, Galaxy S22 and Pixel 6 are anything to go by, those are enough pixels to deliver some impressive photos. Battery life is often struggle for folding smartphones, and this has been especially true for previous Razr foldables. Thankfully, the Razr 2022 is making some progress to address this. Prior to the phone's full announcement, Motorola confirmed that the Razr 2022 would have a 3500 mAh battery capacity. While that's relatively small compared to non-folding phones, the small size of flipping smartphones means that batteries have always been smaller than the average. In addition, this is larger than the 3300 mAh battery in the Z Flip 3, but the Z Flip 4 is got 3700 mAh battery, and the 2800 battery used in Razr 5G combined with the improved power efficiency of the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, the Razr 2022 should be better in this department. Coming to the pricing, Motorola is more aggressive this time around. The Razr 2022 has been announced in China in range from 6,000 Chinese yuan for the cheapest model, with a 7,300 Chinese yuan asking price for the most expensive one. This translates to $900 to $1,100 US, though it's never quite that straightforward. It would still be a drop from the 1500 price from the previous generation and close enough to the Z Flip 4's 1000 baht price that the Razr could even undercut it. So far, Motorola has only shared plans to launch the Razr 2022 in China, but the company often starts its mobile launches with a China launch before expanding to Europe and the United States. We'll hold out for an announcement later and update this if when that happens.